Can you tell us what's the story behind the discovery and the importance of the Hebrew manuscripts of Ben Sira?
Yeah, the manuscripts were discovered from 1896 onwards. The first discovery was in the Geniza of the Ibn Ezra synagogue in Cairo. The roof, above the roof, were all manuscripts that were not complete and so on, were stored because in the Jewish tradition, holy manuscripts were not burned or thrown away, but were kept. Many times were buried, but here they were stored above the roof in the synagogue in Cairo. And the discovery was world news. It appeared that the manuscripts were medieval, 10th, 11th century. And the last mention of the Hebrew manuscript was from 800 AD. For example, Saint Jerome have had Ben Sira in his hands in Hebrew.
Wow.
But didn't translate it because it was not canonical in his eyes. But that's one of the reasons why the book has survived in Greek.
Right.
The Hebrew text was not canonical. Although in rabbinic literature there are more than 100 quotations by rabbis from the Book of Ben Sira. So it's a very peculiar book, even in Jewish tradition. Okay, that's one.
Yep.
In 1964, Yigal Yadin did a very important discovery at Masada. That's a rock in the Judean desert. He discovered a Ben Sira scroll. Masada was conquered by the Romans in 72 or 73 AD, which means that Ben Sira scroll must be earlier than 72 AD, because it was found there. And some years afterwards, in the caves of Qumran, in the Judean deserts, a psalm scroll was found, in which a part of Ben Sira chapter 51 appeared to be written down. And these two discoveries, the scroll of Masada and the psalm scroll of Qumran, was solid proof that the medieval manuscripts were good.
Yeah.
After the discovery in 1896, there was always discussion whether or not the Hebrew manuscripts were retranslated from the Greek or from another language. And now on, you could see that the text of Masada and the Psalm scroll were quite similar to the medieval manuscripts from the 10th and 11th century. And that was an important point in history, because from then on, scholars were not driven to prove that the medieval manuscripts were genuine. For Masada and the Qumran scroll were evidence that they were pieces, reliable, and so on. And from then on, you can see that from 1964 onwards, there was a turn in Ben Sira research. No more text critical questions in the first place, but theology and so on. And then fear of the Lord, for instance, became a dissertation. And now you can look at my library, and then all theological questions now came on the forefront, and therefore it is very important.
Love it. That's fascinating. What a fascinating story of scholarship with regard to Ben Sira and all the discoveries that have been made, especially even within fairly recent time period. I think it was Martin Luther. He followed Saint Jerome, I think, right, and left it in the Apocrypha for that reason. But this is great to see Second Temple Jews living in the land, Masada, what we have in Qumran. We see that tradition is different than.
Yes,
I mean, they're using it. So very fascinating to see that.